guys. Another episode of Snagged podcast and giveaways. God knows what number it is, but we're still going.
20-something, if not 30-something.
That's exactly right. All right, let's get straight into it. Hooch, what's been happening up north? What's the goss? Any fishing? What's been happening?
Well, as far as the fishing goes, the wind has kept everyone off the water a little bit. The wind's picked up a little bit, but those that have been able to get on the water have been looking for bluefin tuna, and they've found them. So really cool to see the bluefin tuna thick and still off Ulverston, still off Devonport, and all the way towards Weymouth. So there's a lot of them out there. King George whiting continued to be targeted, but slowing down a little bit. I'm not sure why. I'll have to talk to the King George whiting experts, but there might be the tail end of the season for those. Interestingly enough, though, I was speaking to a chap who was in Launceston for the footy game, and there's been a chap, the Reedy Lures. Reedy Lures are quite well known. Barra Lures, Murray Cod Lures, even trout lures in the bigger trout waters. The Reedy Lures guy has actually bought a pub in Launceston and is good mates with Merv Hughes. So Merv Hughes was in town, and Merv Hughes was talking about the King George whiting on the northwest coast, and next year he's going to come and spend a week on the northwest coast. So it's going to be good. We're going to try and catch up with Merv and do an evening at the Fourth Pub. I haven't spoken to Merv's management about that yet. I basically had that idea yesterday, so I'll get on top of that. But that'll be a good night. We'll talk cricket and footy and also a bit of fishing if it happens. So fingers crossed.
Can't go wrong with the pub.
I was at the Ulverston Sea Rescue. They had an open day on the weekend. That was pretty cool. They've got a really nice vessel. It looks a bit like a stabby craft, but it's not. It's a big pilot wheelhouse sort of a jigger. Really good to have that sort of equipment now on the northwest coast. If anyone gets into trouble or needs some assistance, they have some pretty good equipment down. The big cop boat was there. One of the big catamarans had a chat to the cops. That's a pretty cool vessel. I think I doubt very much it's ever going to happen because they seem to want to fund the police, the government at the minute, and the fireys. I feel that we need more what I call hall monitors. Sometimes we make silly rules and we can't enforce them because we don't have the cattle on the ground, and I think we need more marine police, to be fair. But anyway, that was the view I shared. It might not be the view of everyone. That's about it, I think.
Cool. All right. Yeah, the weather's been a little bit average, obviously, so even our crops have been a little bit small this week. I mean, it's heaps of fish around. It's probably just trying to get out to get them, I guess, is probably the big thing at the moment. All right, but a lot of reports in the south. What we got going on? Still plenty of salmon in the channel and the Derwent. I saw a pic of a nice Aussie salmon yesterday that went 68 centimetres off Blackman's Bay.
Wow.
That's a cracking Aussie salmon. I was pretty happy with that.
It's a dinner for two at least.
Absolutely.
Worth it.
Derwent fishing very well for bream. Decent sized fish in good numbers. Typically, it's silver style bibbed minnows doing the trick.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Brim's going off.
Speaks of the trade. Yeah, double down on this one. In the Northwest Bay, fishing well. A lot of anglers using surface lures for that classic brim.
Right?
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, a few guys have been out there in Northwest Bay having a bit of a go for brim and stuff like using surface lures, which seems to be making a comeback, which is kind of cool. Can't go wrong too much with those bad boys. We got that Eagle Hawk next, still producing some decent bluefin in excess of 100 kilos. Halco divers in various colours, Lumo skirts seem to be popular. That's it. Geez, you wouldn't even weigh 100 kilos, would you?
Oh, look, on my better days, maybe.
Squid have started to slow. However, some reports off Dennis Point and Snug still coming in. A few anglers have had better success running light 6-pound leaders.
Yeah, so a few of the reports over the week have been suggesting that squid are getting a little bit quiet, but the guys seem to be bringing them stuff using 6-pound leaders and just sort of getting everything a little bit smaller jigs, smaller leaders. Seems to be bringing them unstuck, which is good.
Yeah, then the classic mackerel is about the only thing I think I've ever caught down here. They're everywhere, which is probably why, to be brutally honest. The Sabiki rig's working a treat.
Absolutely, can't go wrong with the old Sabikis. Maker report still strong out of the Eagle Hawk neck. What else we got?
Oh, that's dirty old Dino. Okay, snapper fishing well in the south, doing around Sandy Bay and Taroona area. Small soft plastics, in particular prawn patterns. Yeah, right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, snapper thing seems to be going off pretty well down here this season. It's been fantastic. So I don't know whether they're just more moving the spot or they're just breeding, getting to that size now where they're feeding, hitting lures and stuff like that. But that seems to be going pretty well.
Make it out for a crack.
Oh, you
Yeah,
do.
make it
So
happen,
that's about all we've
mate.
got for reports. But we've got some cool brags this week. So
Yeah, buddy.
straight into brags. Let's go for it. What do we got?
Arthur Widdock. Good session the other week with the bent minnows on the flats, producing a good handful of aggressive brim.
Absolutely, young Arthur. Absolutely
Woohoo.
smashing him. Harry Kuzwick and Joe Widdock headed out into the upper Derwent and made some decent brim and sea runners. Awesome work, boys.
Oh, this one not a Widdock. This is Daniel Baldwin. Hopefully a couple of the relations to good old alligator. That'd be
That's it,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Good feed out of Tirana today.
Well, Tirana, I believe.
Tirana. Where's that?
I'll show you on the map later.
Yeah, fair income. Tirana today. Trevally snapper for the win.
Absolutely good
FTW.
work.
Cody Goss. PB Gummy caught earlier in the morning. A 45-minute fight on the 2 to 4 kilo rod, 10-pound braid and 16-pound leader.
That would make them awesome fun on light gear like that.
No need for the gym there, eh? You've done your workout for the day, mate.
That's it. Tail Chassid Fishing Adventures, the boys with those. Cracking bluefin, 1.98 metres to the 450.8 kilos.
Up to the 4.
That's a stonker big bluey. Awesome work, legends. And I know. It's like his last name was HRV on 10. I'm guessing that's probably not his name, but go for it.
Alrighty, Paul HRV. Let's rock and roll with a nice snapper and elephant shark. Okay, elephant shark.
That's it. Elephant fish, elephant shark, whatever you want
Yeah,
to
righto. How big do they get? Because they got a gigantic name. I reckon
They're not that
Big as elephants.
That's it. No.
Big as
They get
elephants,
bigger.
they are.
Sorry, H.
They're big as elephants. That's why they're called elephants.
Oh, that makes sense. Absolutely.
That was my first impression, but then I'm like, how many elephants have I seen in the water? And I was like, well, 0. So
Who knows?
maybe.
Elephants love a swim.
Absolutely.
MSK Fishing smashing the brim from the Derwent.
Yeah, big guy's been out there smashing brim for a long time now, and he's absolutely making the most of the Derwent's been fishing really well, so awesome work there. The guys from Double Hook Fishing, Charles and Tours, they said to say, today we had a man that wanted as many species as possibly travels the world in search of new species. They managed to get him 7 bluefin, some Jack-O' smallwong, a blue morwong, which are pretty rare, a perch, a wrasse, a salmon, some jack mackerel, some slimies, some flatties, some barber perch, and also a pike. Also a pike. Awesome work, guys. That's made his dream come true, so awesome work there, guys.
Yeah, right on. And then you're going over to Ken Martin with a cracking gummy.
That was a good fish. He did well there.
Yeah, seems to be a bit up and coming, the old gummy, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
That's like 4 or 5 reports, mate.
Yeah,
Woo!
that time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Holstorm.
With another cracking gummy. I love it.
Yeah, it wasn't the same gummy, was it?
No, it wasn't. Big man himself, Damon Sheriff, fishing this weekend with a cracking brown trout from up the north of the state. Didn't exactly say where it was, but on just some river somewhere. Well, that sounds like Damon.
That's fair.
Yeah, it tells us everything we need to know about kingfish in our last interview, but didn't tell me where he caught his trout.
That's
At
the
lucky
right
last.
Yeah, well, you probably saw it coming. You got a bit of Cody Goss with a healthy gummy shark.
That's it.
Mate,
So,
pow.
The gummies.
The
Big gummies have been featuring.
That it is.
Now, can I just interrupt and say I was listening to that and didn't hear many kingfish, which is a bit wild. But don't forget, I'll be ringing someone in the next couple of days to give away that. Well, it's already been given away. We know the person. So if you're a member and you're a member for the last, month or so, you could be getting a call from me for that $1,000 kingfish. I'm looking forward to giving that away. So, yeah, if your phone rings and you find up there's an idiot on the end of the phone, it could well be me.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, we're excited to give that one away. I started talking to Shimano today about some awesome new prizes, so there's some even better things coming up. But if you want to win those prizes, like the lucky man that Hooch is going to give a buzz in the next couple of days, www.snagged.com.au. Grab yourself a membership. Helps us do what we do here, and also you're going to win some absolutely epic prizes.
That's it.
Nice
Podcast
work. Now I've got a bit of a
podcast, and we give
I've
away.
got a bit of a
That's exciting.
controversy corner. I've got a bit of a controversy corner if we want to bookend the show with a bit of
Go
controversy.
for it.
Go on. Let your hair down.
It's just a bit of a comment, really. It's a little bit of a comment on game fishing. I don't know whether you saw the video of the fish that was hung at Shell Harbour, that they had the tail pulled out of it and fell into the water.
Yeah,
Did you see that?
Yeah, it went straight in the water. That was sad.
Just to paint the picture, game fishing competitions have weigh stations and they have weigh masters, and the game fishing competitions have sets of rules that are handed down from the IGFA, which is the International Game Fishing Association, and then you've got the GFAA, which is the Australian association around the rules. And game fishing has been sort of something that you aspire to. And they hung that fish, and there's a few rules around hanging mutilated fish and what the fish has got to look like and present like. And unfortunately, those people that caught that fish couldn't get the fish in the boat. Now, traditionally, you would try to get the fish in the boat. It was a large blue marlin of 350 or nearly 400 and something. They weighed the head separately, which that's how bad the condition the fish in. So the fish was in bad condition because they towed the fish backwards in warm water for a long, long way at a reasonably high speed, I imagine, to make the cutoff, because there was $50,000 at stake. The prize for this competition was $50,000. Now, I don't have a problem with competitions having good prizes, but when people do things, they should have just got the fish in the boat.
Absolutely.
For years, very, very clever men have got fish in the boat, and you gear yourself up if you're in a competition with a block and tackle or some pulleys or enough people to deal with it. And they towed that fish backwards, and it ended up being mushy, damaged, a mess. They weighed it with its head off. When they finally hung it up, it looked a mess. And I like to be proactively positive as often as I can, and it's my default position. But as a game fisherman, I didn't go much on it. It was a bit of a mess for mine. They weighed that fish. It took the comp out. But I tell you what, it's upset a few. So leave a comment somewhere if you know anything about game fishing and you've got an opinion on it. I'm not saying your opinion has to be the same as mine, and we can have a little talk about it here now, but it was just something that really affected me as a game fisherman.
Well, I think, we're at a point now where people should be taking the time to look after those fish, and, and game fishing and stuff, and competitive game fishing is always in the eyes of a lot of the political parties, and, got to be seen to be doing the right thing. And sometimes like that, although I can appreciate the eagerness for them to get back with that much money on the cards, you should be more prepared.
Absolutely. And to be fair, you've only caught the fish if you get it out of the water.
Yeah.
You've hit the nail on the head there. The skill set doesn't stop when you catch the fish. Like, as a game fisherman, you've got a skill set that means that you are in a competition that says that you've got to get the fish to the weigh station in a certain condition. And if you lack the skills to be able to get that fish to the weigh station and present in a certain manner, which is all part of the, fishing, it's all part of game fishing, it's all part of those high-end competitions. It's a skill set to get out there, to get your boat out to wherever you got to go without injuring anyone, without damaging the boat, catching a fish and getting it back in condition. And they failed miserably, yet they were rewarded. And I go crook all the time. About rewarding people for mediocrity, and it ends up being the lowest common denominator.
So I think it's almost like maybe an update of some of the rules in situations like that to prevent that sort of stuff from happening.
I think you've got to respect the fish a bit, you respect the craft of being a game fisherman, and you also show no respect to yourself by presenting something that is not of an equal standard. you rightfully probably shouldn't have actually even taken that award because you know it's not up to the pedigree of what everyone else delivered.
Yeah.
If you're worst in show but best in show, that's not a thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate, for sure.
You know, there's no
It'll be interesting
self-pride,
to
there's no
see-
pride for the environment. No. But
Yeah,
that's
interesting to
something
see.
got to do game fishing.
It'll be interesting to see if we get the comments.
Well, it's never caught
Well,
tuna.
much fish. But yeah, for just like a respect to the sport.
Well, that's
man.
it. I mean, like that fish behind the boat getting slammed on the way back there, like the actual quality of the flesh is going to be off. And, you know, it's like, yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, like I say, I guess there's a thin line between getting back and winning that money. But you know, I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but they were just panicking and want to get it done. And I'm sure that's all it is. But yeah, at the same time, get prepared, isn't it?
And I mean, it's up to the committee and that. And I mean, I've got my opinion on it, but I mean that they were entitled. They run the competition. It's entirely up to them. But I can pretty much safely say, I've run a few game fishing competitions and helped organise them. There's no way known that I'd be hanging a fish like that if I was associated with anything. But anyway, that was my little controversy corner. And if you've got an opinion,
well, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Actually, to be honest, I think that's a very, very fair controversy you brought up.
That's exactly right. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining in. We better stop for Hooch has some more controversy.
Getting that ball rolling, baby.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Catch up.
Peace.